Hello my good students, welcome back to our War on the Sea Let's Play series on the Tokyo Express mod with the Imperial Japanese Navy, carrying straight off hot of the hills from the previous episode, as we always do. Here at Rabaul, just inspecting our cargo ships, waiting for our supplies to replenish rather, and I think that is a rather decent position to be waiting for actually. However, having said that, we are in a tricky situation, and we are going to go straight over to the strategic map to see exactly why that is. Alrighty then, so what is the position we are talking about? Well, at first glance you can see we have some sort of possible cruiser task force patrolling around Guadalcanal. That might be something to look at. However, that might not be as threatening as that seems. I have a large suspicion that will be the group of 4 destroyers which have been patrolling up and down, just about to hearish at the very most when they patrol up to Guadalcanal. So that's possibly not the biggest concern there. We might want to come down with our 2 submarines over here to have a quick look at that, and I think that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to come back round and we're going to loop back up because we think there might be some sort of carrier out there. The US do seem to replace their bogues very quickly, and so that's just going to be a game of attrition to get down all 11 of them. We have sunk 2 of those already, as well as a Yorktown, and that is absolutely brilliant there. So looking very, very nice indeed. I think we're just going to double check that that is in fact the case. Yeah, 11 bogues in total, so 9 left, which is lovely stuff. That's still quite a heavy number of carriers though, even though they are mostly armed with Wildcats, only having a few Avengers to strike our ships with. The Wildcats will achieve air superiority if they are allowed to stay afloat. However, those of you who have a keen memory will remember that we did come under attack from some sort of aircraft carrier in the Solomon Sea area around here. We were pursuing the possible route the airplanes were coming from with our I-17 and our I-9 just here. We did not get a clear glimpse, I don't think, of the possible aircraft carrier for quite a while in that episode, so that is something we're going to have to keep an eye out for. I do believe that we did shoot down a fair amount of their dive bombers. I can't remember off the top of my head if we sunk any of their torpedo bombers, so that is something we're going to have to look out for as well as Wildcats. We are returning to the Shortland Islands with our protecting roofs, and we have some howitzers just watching our destroyer group here, which was hit by some dive bombs. We're having to send back the Asashio because of that, so that did take quite a heavy amount of damage, and I'd rather send that back than lose it, of course. And even if we did lose it, the reason I got Asashios was because they were cheap, of course, and we were aware of the possibility of losing them fairly early. And with that being said, I'm not the biggest fan of Asashios to stay around our main forces. They are purely for anti-submarine warfare purposes. And having said that, we are going to bring back round the bulk of that force round to have a look at this submarine here, and that is if we can't launch anything decent. Of course we can't launch anything from Santa Isabel because we captured that one as neutral at a state with nothing on it. So we're going to see if we can launch some Jakes actually with some depth charges over to this position here. See if we can do something about that before it comes off of detection. We can see this only because we've just loaded up into the game, and it's just how this game works. You get a bit of sight. We can see something else over here, quite likely actually another submarine, so might want to launch something against that. I wonder if we can launch some Jakes off of the Tonne armed with some depth charges actually, and indeed we can. So that's what we're going to try. They're going to go straight over 2 of those, see what we can do about that. Having said that, we should, it's day 21, we get resupplied every 7 days, so it should not be very long at all until we get resupplied. I'm hoping that happens within the hour, otherwise it will happen tomorrow, which would be rather strange if that isn't the case. Haven't been resupplied just yet, so you can tell because of the low troop count, and we should definitely have more command points than 27. We will be gaining, let's see, 87 command points there, as denoted by this particular number here, and that is absolutely brilliant. That is because we now have taken Guadalcanal, which is absolutely brilliant as well. Once that ticks over, yeah, we can actually launch some sort of planes off of that. So that is not our full stock just yet. We're waiting for that to go to at least 4 of each aircraft, because we do have a level 2 airfield there, and I think that will go even higher for our base Hyabusas and Toryus there. Having said that, I think just for the purpose of scouting and for the purpose of seeing what... should really see what this group is, just to scout out whether it is the destroyers or not. We're going to send our Hyabusas just with a... I'm going to send one Toryu actually, just to scout out what that is. I'm not expecting to drop any bombs, so we're not going to launch with any bombs there, because if there's 4 destroyers or more heavy types of ships there, we won't be able to do anything with that. We'll just lose the Toryus there. So, having said that, I think that is all our preparation we can do. Just going to wait to scout out and wait for our supplies to come in, in which case we will attack the Florida Islands. And yeah, there we go. The Toryu launched outside Guadalcanal has in fact spotted this group, and it is just the 4 destroyers. I think that's worth reporting. It looks like I believe a Bagley here, or a Gridley. I think that's a Benson leading, and these will be Jervises as well in the rear. That's not a problem at all. We'll certainly be able to deal with them in the future, especially now that we have Guadalcanal. Like I say, once that replenishes the aircraft properly, we'll be able to start striking them fairly decently. And once we take the Florida Islands, that'll be even easier. So we're going to look around for this submarine again, like I say, and wait for... we have actually been resupplied in that intermediate period, which is very nice indeed. We did get to the Shortland Islands to level 3. So what we're going to do is we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Asma Marus. We want, we don't have any more, that's not a problem. So we can fit 1, 2, 3 Kamogawa Marus, and that's exactly what we're going to split off into this other group here. This will be our main invasion force. No ships selected, that's a launch aircraft, to absolute fool. So we're going to take some supplies on the Makigumo, and we're going to load up as many troops as possible, not too many at all. That will run us out of troops completely. We're just going to get, in that case, going to launch, or load up rather, mostly supplies of course. We're going to launch or load some supplies like that, and I think, you know what, that will be it. We've got 1.8, 1.6, that's okay, we've got 700, 1.2, 1.2. Let's load up one more ship with some supplies and actually reduce the number of ships in this group, because you don't need all of them. They can stay back. And we're going to reselect them, and they can go straight over to the Florida Islands. We'll put them in this sort of path like that, and that should be absolutely fine just there. It should take just over a day to get there. I didn't quite look, but that should be fine. We do control that space now. Lovely stuff. We take a closer look at how to approach there when we get to this sort of area here. Perhaps launch overnight, which will be brilliant stuff. We can probably bring the Heel down as well to protect this task force as well, once that gets a bit closer. And you know what? We've got 114 command points. What would actually be better than launching the Hio down there to rely on that? Especially since there's another aircraft carrier about. We're going to get another aircraft carrier of our own. And I think we're going to get Ryuzo. The reasoning for that is because it does have a sizable amount of zeros, and that's exactly what we need right now. Not too bothered about strike aircraft right now. The zeros for protection and air superiority are much more valuable at the moment, I feel. So we can get that straight away, and I think we're going to get some escorting destroyers as well, just in the form of a couple Fubikis like that. They can swap around like that in the formation in a lovely line ahead. And that's going to take most of our command points just in that small but rather useful group there, and that can come straight down here. Lovely stuff. So we'll get back to you in a minute, I think. Alrighty then, so our supply ships have been intercepted by planes launched from, I imagine, the Florida Islands, which is not too much of a bother. We did preemptively launch a lot of zeros from Ryuzo specifically for this occasion. We are just going to sort out a few orders here just to make sure we do attack all of the enemy planes at once. That would be brilliant if we could do that. Just going to get 2 on 1 plane for sure. And that would be lovely stuff there. Excellent. Just hope we decide to fire on the approach there. Should be absolutely slaughtered if we do so. It is just a few mariners at the moment. I imagine there may well be some Catalinas if they do have access to them at the Florida Islands. That's 2 down straight away. 1 more to follow shortly. Lovely stuff. Very quick report for you there. But I think very fair to show that we are coming into some sort of problems with the defenders of the Florida Islands there. So in a little bit of a nice position there. We're certainly that much safer. And I think, having said that, that means we can probably just push straight on into Florida Islands there. Just double check how much fuel we do have on these zeros. That's 650 kilometers worth of fuel there. And that is actually within range, but of course our supply ships will be moving very, very slowly, so that won't be the full extent. We do only have a couple hours of possible airtime left, so I think we should absolutely just rush towards the Florida Islands. That would take 10 hours, let's round it up to get there, and therefore we'll have just a couple hours time to get straight out of there once again. Once we do land our troops. I think that should be just about enough. We can take a few troops and supplies off of Guadalcanal if we do need to push the balance in our favour just a little bit more on the Florida Islands, but I don't think it would be so difficult as taking Guadalcanal. It never has been in my experience, and we did stifle their supplies going into this area. We have spotted the remainder of a carrier escort which we hit in the previous episode with the New Orleans and I believe we sunk a Pensacola, was it? And we definitely sunk a Cleveland as well. In this sort of area, they've been scouting and watching our submarines over here the past few hours and days. So not too bothered about that so much, but I do want to keep an eye on them just so we know where they are. They won't come across our carrier groups too easily, hopefully. So let's carry on and see how this invasion goes. Alrighty then, so we have just spotted some enemy torpedoes in the water there. It looks like they were going for our Makigumo there, so we are slowing right down there, but they have passed our ships. We're just going to watch. They're not going to turn off anymore, so I think our supply ships are very, very safe there. You can see the large stream. They did fire everything they could at us, and that is lovely stuff. Very lucky they were going for the Makigumo there. I am going to tell everyone else to just stop so that we don't turn into those torpedoes and make it even worse for ourselves. They're actually making it completely our fault that we take any torpedoes there. And this is just outside the Florida Islands, as you can see on the timer on the bottom left there. The combat log, this is only a couple hours after I last left you, in not quite the dead of night, early night time-ish. But that should be just fine. We do, of course, only have the Makigumo here to deal with this submarine. So I am hoping that we do actually sink it here. But I am just very happy at the moment that we did, of course, avoid the torpedoes there. I am going to increase our speed just a tad so we do get on a line with this submarine here. I think we have overturned just a little bit for now. So we're going to turn to the starboard once again, so we can actually get on top of that and chase it, because it is trying to turn out and escape for itself. Going to try and stay in the submerged view in just a second, just keeping this for visibility for yourself. You can see these streams of torpedoes completely missing the distance there, and that is lovely stuff. Going by the map, we should be just on top of this now, so we are going to see, and there we go, it is just here, so we are going to hard turn to starboard now. So our Makigumo is just above it, but I would like the stern of our ship to be right over that. So we're just going to skip the time ahead just a bit here. Do need to do, like I said, a very hard turn. We're not going to go too fast though, like that, and we are going to do a hard turn to port now. Just slow our speed down just a little bit. We are just trying to get on a straight line with the submarine here, and that's, I think, just about right there. So we're going to speed up, get some depth charges ready. I think a spread of 3 loads. Lovely stuff. We are just taking us over now. Brilliant. Going to go back to normal speed so we don't overshoot. Get ready for this. And I think that is looking like a decent line. I do want our stern just over its bow, so we do get some leading drops onto it. Lovely stuff, lovely, lovely stuff. I think that will do just fine. Let's reduce our speed, because once it starts getting hit, and I think it already has, the submarine has reduced its own speed. That is brilliant. Very lucky to keep the sonar contact on there as well, with our speed being increased so much. And the visibility and such being rather low. The sea state is quite clean though, at state 3, which is brilliant. I can see some very close hits there. I think that's all we have dropped though, so I'm going to take a report. It is critical damage and heavy flooding. I think, because of being greedy and impatient, I think just one more drop, but we are going to have to reverse back over it, leading just a little too much there. And if in that time it does blow its ballast, we might not drop at all. Just going to go back down. We do have very limited amount of depth charges on the Makagumo. But that is just something to deal with as the IJN. I think I just heard it blow its ballast. That is brilliant stuff. So we are actually going to stop here completely and see if that does actually start rising. Difficult to tell just yet. Don't think it is actually rising. Interesting. So we are actually going to drop one more group of depth charges on top of it. That's going to hit right on the bow there. And that has forced it to sink. Brilliant stuff. There we go, there we go, there we go. Very nice indeed. Very, very nice indeed. And we only have 3.5 hours left to get to Florida Islands. So I will see you there. And that time is now. So let's unload all of our supplies and troops. And that is actually overkill. Look at that advantage. They must have basically no one on the Florida Islands, and that is very good news to me indeed. That will be ours in the next couple of days for sure. Probably lined up very well with our invasion on Guadalcanal. Then that will mean that we can keep our supply ships actually fairly close to this area and retake Melita, because that is of course another main objective for us, and it will of course give us a few more command points and sight. So we're actually not going to move the supply ships all the way out. I am going to move them outside of the operational zone just for the minute until that is definitely ours, because they will keep launching float planes to attack us, and that's absolutely not a good idea. They have previously been spotted by the previous escort lurking around here, so that was why they came under threat in the previous engagement. So let's go over to the daytime and see how that carries out. Okay, so as anticipated, we are being intercepted by some sort of planes from the Florida Islands, and it is some Catalinas. Interesting. So our zeros could probably not be there actually in time. What I'm going to do is increase the speed of our rear ships here, because that's clearly what they're going for. And I'm going to make them break off and turn away. That should give our zeros a little bit more time to get into action there, because they do have to climb down to their level as well. It's always horrible bringing your glorious Japanese planes down to the level of American planes, of course. Don't quite have the skill to match our glorious Japanese fighter pilots here, but it does look like we're getting very close now. Just making sure we are certainly on target there. Just flying by there, letting all of our planes let loose. Very nice indeed there. Should probably stop turning with those at the back there actually, because we are overturning a little bit. But honestly, I think we can let them do their thing. These should be shot down with no problem in no time at all. And it says that our zeros do appear to be messing about just a little bit. One more to go. Couldn't quite stay on target there. Oh, I'm in a bit of trouble there, but we are very successful in that time. I'm going to take a quick report. That was only the 3 planes sighted, not a problem there. I did wonder if they might have replenished some mariners. That's not a problem at all. I have launched some vows actually. Because you can see the destroyer group, which has been patrolling for the last few days, does appear to be getting a bit greedy there. I'm hoping actually they don't manage to keep up and catch our supply ships. That is a possibility. What is the distance between them? 83 kilometers. How long is it going to take us to get there? About an hour. Okay, not a problem. We should be okay there. otherwise they'll just be retreating. We can see some more float planes coming in actually from Renal Island, so that's going to be a problem. But we do, like I say, have some zeros with a lot of fuel left over from the Ryujo. So very, very useful, very, very worth our time guessing, investing that into that Ryujo there, because our supplies would be rather buggered otherwise. Okay, so it does appear that our Vals have made us in range of these destroyers, and I think we're going to focus. How many groups do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. We do have. They're very, very close to our supply ships, actually. I'm not going to use our zeros in this fight, actually. I'm just going to use the Vals, and I think what I'm going to do is, like I said, 2 groups of Vals on 1 destroyer here. They are armed with high explosive bombs rather than armor piercing, knowing that these were destroyers chasing us. So we're just going to go for the lead ships here, the American ships, the Benson, and I believe a Bagley there. Let's actually have a very quick look at that. That should be, where are we? Yeah, I'd say that's a Bagley. Where is what we thought it might be? It might be a Gridley, might be a Gridley, might be wrong. I think that's actually a Gridley. The platforms for the AA here just giving that away a little bit, but not to worry, it should be a sunk ship very soon. As long as we get some decent hits on. We are coming spow on actually, which I think is probably for the best with destroyers and dive bombers here. Should be alright there. Let's take away the map there and such. It does sound like we've lost something already actually. Let's just take a quick look. I do apologise. It's just zeros leaving. Not a problem. Not a problem. I was going to be a bit worried then. Let's carry on, shall we? Come on, guys. You got this. Oh, missed. Oh, only a couple hits there. The Benham actually taking more. And a dud bomb. I don't know if you heard that over my voice. They're not going to be sunk at all, are they? Certainly not going to be sunk. 2 duds on the Benson here, which is rather a shame. That's going to be light damage. Actually, yeah, minor damage on this one and moderate on the Benham. That is rather a shame, actually. I keep calling it a Benham. It is Benson. Fool. Do sound very much alike. There's a heavy fire coming out in the midships here. Does make me want to use the zeros, actually, but they are leaving the zone. We did lose a... did actually lose the Val, which is rather unfortunate. Rather unfortunate. That's what's making me not want to use these zeros, but I think we are going to take advantage of this, actually. I'm sure the fire will be put out by the time our zeros get there. That's the problem here. But our supply ships will have certainly retreated. That is very nice indeed. I'll get back to you when we make a decision on this. Okay, coming in range here of these destroyers. I think we're just going to reduce our speed a tad with these planes here, just so we get a little more time on target when we do start firing, and then we might be able to increase our speed a bit when we do get our salvos off, just to make a hasty retreat there. That would be lovely. Just double checking which ones we've been over. I believe that is about it. Just a few more here, 1 more formation, that would be great stuff. Alrighty, there we go, lovely stuff. Do apologise for the slowness. Of course, the fire has been put out, very much got to the top of it. I've had a lot of time to deal with that. It's not a problem there. We're right on the bow, so I'm hoping we get right through the deck there. We are going to get a little bit of crossfire here. We are going to start losing some zeros perhaps. Our Vals are leaving the... Oh, some lovely explosions. Lovely, lovely explosions there. Very concentrated indeed as well. Did lose a 0 to that. Did lose a 0. That should be okay. Should be the only one we lose just yet. May have to reform in just a second. Which zeros we have here in the back? I forgot to increase their speed earlier. 19 to 21. That's not a problem. That means we can start with everyone else, just reforming them. Get them into Vix. That would be very nice. Brilliant stuff. We might come back round for another strafe in just a second. We'll see how well this one goes. So I think we can think about reducing our speeds here once again. And actually getting a very nice few hits on here. Not sure if we'll finish it off. Really depends on what we get here. Really depends on what we get here. Here we go though. Come on. Oh, it's not looking great. Oh, very nice. Couple of explosions though. Very nice indeed. Does look like it puts one of the guns completely out of action there on the bow of the ship. And that is brilliant stuff. We did lose one more 0 on that attack. I don't think we're going to go in again. That's another 0. Yes, certainly not going again there. Just a little too costly there for what our gain is, of course. But that is very nice indeed. Another explosion. The fire doing very well. It's actually in critical damage and heavy flooding. It is very tempting to come back with a couple groups to actually just get the stern of the ship to spread out the love, of course. But no, I think that would be just fine there. Probably won't sink, but we will stick around and see what the fires do. And I don't want to risk any more zeros going down there. There we go. Yeah, that did just... the fires did burn out, unfortunately, without the ship sinking. So not a problem there. Not a problem at all. We could probably go back in once the Vals have rearmed there, but we will have to see. We do only have 6 now available on the Hiyo before we rearm, of course. That's not a problem there at all. Did only lose 1 Val as well and the 3 zeros. I'm absolutely happy with that. Like I said, we have the 2 carriers for the zeros. Mostly for the zeros as well. A bit light on the attack aircraft. That's not a problem. That should deter perhaps the destroyers from coming back and chasing us down. We will have to see. We do still have quite a sizable amount of zeros protecting our supplies here. Just going to go over to the suppliers and tell them, yeah, they are certainly going out of that. Don't quite have enough destroyers here to take on that, but what we could do is take our Mogami and Tone out, as probably not the Yugamo. We could take that with these destroyers and engage these if we fancy. That might be an idea, just to bring them down, actually. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do, because I don't think the Hiyo and Ryujo are in fact in any trouble just yet. And that should be just fine, actually. Let's split the group off them. Like that. So they can go over here to meet the meet these destroyers and engage the enemy destroyers if need be. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves in just a little bit of a pickle. We did actually spot an enemy aircraft carrier over in this position in the previous day, just before night time, expecting it to not move too far, perhaps down to Guadalcanal, as they have previously done so. We did not move our submarines very far. However, in the morning now, they've been picked up on radar just outside the Shortland Islands. So what we're going to do is actually launch some roofs off of the Shortland Islands to distract some wildcats, and we're going to launch, I think, Kate's I think would be the better option here. Yeah, I think Kate's would certainly be the better option here from the Hiyo. We're going to launch all 12 that we can, and we're going to launch some, I think, just a few zeros from the Ryujo here, just so we don't lose all of them and just to make sure any wildcats do become preoccupied. I think that would be just fine there. Certainly going to strike the carrier if there is one. Certainly expecting a bogue more than anything else. We are going to move our carriers down just a little bit in case they decide not to retreat after this strike, or in case, of course, this strike is not successful. So let's carry on and see what happens there. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, let's bring our zeros down just a little bit and try and reposition just well enough that we are all together. When we are in range, and that should be just fine. Let them get a little closer. I think we will go to tactical from here. Wish us luck. Oh, visibility is terrible. Look at that, 24%. And a sea state of 6. That is excellent weather. Absolutely excellent weather for a potential strike. So, it's another supply force. And it is, of course, a Bogue. Ah, okay, with, I believe, a New Mexico, I believe. Just going to double check that for you. Yeah, the Tennessee, perhaps? It does appear to be, actually. New Mexico is a bit different. Lovely stuff there. Okay, so, of course, Bogue is the high priority. I'm just double checking. This is a fresh Pensacola. Okay, so this is a completely different task force to what we have previously hit with our submarines. So having said that then, what we're going to focus on is of course the Bogue. We're going to, I think, keep two... we're going to keep 2 groups of Kates in reserve here. Just going to identify this as the Bogue, just to make things a little easier for us on the map. And that is brilliant stuff. Got to tell, of course, our Kates to go down to striking altitude and increase their speed there so they get in a bit easier. Lovely stuff. We do have to go through the majority of their AA ships, unfortunately. That is just the way the cookie crumbles today, ladies and gentlemen. That is rather unfortunate. We're going to make sure this group is also targeting the Bogue. Going to bring our zeros in, of course, just to make sure we do distract any fighters. Lovely stuff. Going to bring this group of zeros down to a low altitude just to help with any interception. That would be brilliant stuff. And these roofs, I think, can stay over and protect our remaining Kates that we're keeping in reserve. I'm going to bring them down to a lower altitude as well, so they don't have to climb or dive too much if they do have to intercept anyone. Going to keep these Kates down to striking altitude and just outside of their AA range. The AA range should be reduced quite severely, actually, because because of course the visibility is absolutely terrible at 24%. That is absolutely ideal. There we go, losing contact with them as you see there as we do change our own positions. That is brilliant stuff indeed. We have sighted some Wildcats as well, so we're certainly going to get our zeros on top of them as soon as we can. It does look like we're already targeting and attacking their lead fighter, which is brilliant stuff. Just going to get a couple zeros to move around, I think, like that. Brilliant. Brilliant indeed. Our roofs should also be in position there, but I am just going to tell them to come round. Where are they? Where are they? Lovely stuff. Let's form up in a Vic here. Move around, I think, like that, and tell them to just follow the Kates in and circle round. That would be lovely. What are the Wildcats doing? Okay, cool. This one, not too sure what it wants to do. It's not a problem. There is a second formation coming in. I'm going to speed up our Kates just a tad. Tell them to get a leading position actually onto the Bogue there. Yeah, because we are certainly going to lose some. I was hoping that they wouldn't be able to fire at us just yet, but it does appear to be the case. That's not a problem. We're going to slow down again to striking speed. And I think, actually, the Bogue doesn't appear to be. We've changed our target for some reason here. The Bogue doesn't appear to be moving too quickly. Does not appear to be moving too quickly at all. And I think in the chaos of this, I am going to tell our other Kates in the remainder here to actually go for... I want to hit the county, I think. You know, I really want to hit the county if we do manage to hit the Bogue quite well. So we're going to go straight down for that. Where are our other Kates? They're just here, not a problem. Let's bring them over, tell them to attack like that. Brilliant stuff. Why are these Kates not formed up? I think it's because they lost a leading plane there. That is rather strange. So we are going to tell them to attack once again, like that. I think actually what the problem is here is that I have both of them selected individually. Let's move that round, and that should be just fine. I'm going to double check that these are also on target again then, and indeed they are. We have lost one more roof. Okay, cool. Looks like we've dropped, and that is good just before losing a Kate there as well. And make sure these ones are still on target as well. Oh, losing that. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. I really need this one to drop. There we go. Not too bothered about our fighters. Certainly more worried about the Bogue, of course, just yet. That is the target here. And that's one. That's two. It's been struck by 3 according to the message box down there, and that is 4. Let's take a report, shall we? So it is in critical condition all across the board. That is brilliant stuff. I'm certainly going to tell this group to attack the county then and take that opportunity while we can. We have lost a fair few aircraft here, and that is not good at all. Going to increase their speed here as well, because that would be rather ideal if we could. Great stuff there. Okay, come on. The AA is coming on us now. We've lost a few zeros here. 1, 2 zeros there. A couple Kates. Another 0 down. It's not good. Not good at all. But certainly worth it if this forces them to retreat, because that is what we're hoping for here. Things would be certainly a lot harder. We can't get this Bogue down, but it does appear to be the case. I do think we're going to be fine with that. So going to increase the speed of these Kates just a little bit. We have lost a Kate in the leading group here. They have dropped though by the looks of it, which is brilliant stuff. These Kates just dropping now as well, but the county is taking evasive manoeuvres. We should certainly increase our speed and altitude here. How are we looking? Oh, I think that's looking fine. It's going to take a couple torpedoes at least. Come on. Come on. There's 1, that's 2. Nope, don't snap. Want to keep an eye on this, that's 3 at least. Does look like it might hit the Bogue if this does miss, actually. Might be the case, and that'd be very nice. That would secure the kill if that one of these does hit. That was a very good option there. Yeah, that's 1 more. Excellent stuff. We're certainly going to get a 6th torpedo on the Bogue, and that is that sunk. Lovely bit of collateral damage there. It's my favourite source of damage. But we've lost nearly all of our planes, and that is because we did not micromanage that at all. Certainly fixating on the ships over here, which is not a good idea, of course, but that was the priority, if you ask me. Not going to sink the county, unfortunately. Not going to be the case there, but we are only going to escape with 2 Kates there. And that is terrible, of course. How many planes? We only sunk or destroyed 3 planes out of their 12, and we lost 19. That is a very terrible trade in the air. But I think for a permanent asset down like the Bogue, that is, I'm absolutely happy to take that. Very, very happy to take that indeed. And to cripple the county like that as well is very, very nice as well. So the major threat now is, of course, this ship here. This big old, juicy, girthy battleship. Very, very juicy indeed. But I think we'll wait to see if the floods develop much on the county. Keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. And unfortunately, of course, the county did not sink there, so we are going to have to scout this out again to see how that task force moves. I am, of course, very much hoping that they do retreat there. That does seem to be the case once they lose their aircraft carrier, that these task forces are not too sure what to do with themselves. But we shall see, we shall see. That is the 3rd Bogue sunk, so that is a very nice win for us, and that does mean that any future airstrikes will have greater potency. It is of course a shame that we did lose a lot of aircraft there, a hell of a lot of aircraft indeed, but overall I think worth it. We can replenish those aircraft, they can't replenish the Bogue. That is what it comes down to at the end of the day. So having said that, I think that is all we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed making this series for you. It's been very, very fun indeed. So I'd be glad to present it to you. But that is, of course, all we have time for. So I have been the Edified Gamer, and I hope your nights and days are auspicious. Goodbye.